Alert the crew, it's gonna get rough.
If there is one thing about the Xindi War arc in Enterprise that is dissimilar to most all of the rest of Trek, it's the slow burn. The buildup of the story is probably on par with that of Deep Space Nine's Dominion War, and even then, the actual buildup of the Dominion War may not be as nuanced as the buildup to the finale of Enterprise's Xindi War. It's really interesting to see how well the writers did in Legacy Trek when they took their time and let the story tell itself. However, getting into the breakdown proper, for the past few episodes, we've really been seeing that slow burn starting to get a lot hotter. We can see it getting closer to the boiling point in the Enterprise episode, Proving Grounds. The humans were starting to piece everything together, and now, with the ability to chart many of the distortions that had been destroying the ship, the NX-01 Enterprise was able to get through the Expanse much faster. However, they were still only one ship. No backup, no resources, no real allies. This meant that sometimes they'd have to take risks that were generally unadvisable. Among them included going through some of the phenomena, the stuff they were trying to avoid, because they couldn't take the few days that it would require to get around it. It would ultimately be a bad idea, as the vessel would be crippled and losing power within one of the distortions. However, the humans would find that they weren't without allies any longer, as the NX-01 Enterprise is saved by an Andorian ship commanded by one man, and that man would be known as Shran. The Andorian captain advises his human counterpart that he has come to help the humans, that while the Vulcans didn't have the United Earth's back, the Andorians would rise to the occasion. This all while taking some pot shots at T'Pol and the Vulcan High Command.
But we've come to your aid. We've come into the Expanse when they refused.
At the end of the day, we know this is not the complete truth. However, Shran's not wrong. The Vulcans' decision to not help and to disagree with the humans was a pretty large slight, at least in my opinion. It is surprising, if not a little frustrating, that this did not cause some significant damage to the relations between the two peoples on the human side. But that's a conversation for another time. Due to the distortion, the NX-01 Enterprise was pretty badly damaged, and Shran offers to help Archer fix his ship. Here's an interesting question. We know that Shran's vessel has advanced sensors and can observe the Xindi without them knowing. What are the chances he knew Enterprise was about to be in trouble and let their ship get tore up so he could come in and save the day? Remember, the Andorians were almost immediately there when the NX-01 is about to lose power. So you're telling me they weren't in communications range before that? I mean, it's possible all this happened as presented, but given what we know, seems kind of suspect. On that score, it takes but a simple throwaway line as to why the Andorians don't have to worry about the distortions within the Expanse, and we're off to the races. At least they address it, I guess.
Many of the moons show evidence of extensive weapons bombardment.
Anyway, with the help of the Andorians, the new alliance is able to identify a system where there has been a lot of weapons testing. They also identify 4 Xindi ships that are escorting the weapon itself. On another note, we have been seeing as a side arc the distrust and issues within the Xindi Council. This is starting to become more and more an issue where we observe how the different races and the council members interact. It's also worth noting that the reptilians appear to be the main aggressors of all the species. It's a nice touch that we'll see in the finale.
Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Shran of the Andorian Mining Consortium.
Given the advanced nature of the Andorian technology, Shran takes his ship into the system and lies to the Xindi, stating that they are a simple mining consortium looking for Archerite. The Andorians begin scanning, claiming that the sensors are omnidirectional, and because of this, they're able to get a few bits of information about the weapon. When the Xindi demand the ship leaves, Shran ultimately does to keep their cover. But the vessel leaves slowly. No one threatens the Andorian Mining Consortium after all. They bow to no one. Why the Xindi don't question a mining consortium vessel that has military-grade weapons is beyond me, but we'll just keep it moving. Shran, Archer, and T'Pol review the data and confirm that the sphere is indeed the weapon they're looking for. However, based on what they can see, it appears that the object of mass destruction had been compromised and wasn't working properly. This in large thanks to a previous ally Archer had made along the way. The plan would be pretty simple. The NX-01 Enterprise would cause a distraction, while the Andorians would swoop in and grab the object. Archer, of course, would be on Shran's vessel, calling all of the shots.
The Xindi killed 7 million humans, not Andorians. I won't put the fate of my people in the hands of the Imperial Guard.
Once they had the weapon, they would scan it and then get it back to Starfleet Command as soon as possible. Easy peasy. Interestingly, while this entire affair is built up over the episode, the operation itself is actually super easy. It's barely an inconvenience. The dialogue consistently points out that it's 4-on-1 or 4-on-2, and yet the NX-01 Enterprise pretty neatly takes on 2 Xindi ships, disabling the engines of either one or both. The Andorians arrive and take the weapon without ever being challenged, and no one is pursued by any of the remaining vessels. It's almost too easy. And something that's never questioned. However, surprise, surprise, the Andorians were not all they said to be. They wished to steal the technology of the Xindi to assist in conflicts against the Vulcans. This was never seen. Archer is put into an escape pod and advised the NX-01 Enterprise won't be able to find Shran's ship because while they were helping fix the NX-01, they had actually sabotaged the sensors. Of course, this would be one of the few times Archer isn't an idiot, and they were prepared for the sabotage. They identified and fixed the sensors pretty easily. When confronted, Shran stated that they had no issues with the humans, but the Andorians were taking the weapon back to Andoria. They had to ensure they could fight against the Vulcans. Instead of allowing the weapon to fall into the hands of the Andorians, Archer activates it and nearly destroys the Andorian vessel. Shran and his ship would limp back home while the Enterprise would return to its search to take on the Xindi. Though it is interesting how it took so long for the Enterprise to get to where it was to almost instantly return to the barrier and then back again. Now, I did say that they could move a lot faster, however, that was a large part of space that they had went across, but whatever, movies make it seem like you can go halfway across the galaxy anyway, so why am I complaining here? I also guess those fuel issues they were having wasn't a big problem at this point. Right before the NX-01 goes to warp, they do receive an encoded message from the Andorian ship. While those in power at the Andorian Imperial Guard may not have been completely forthcoming and had no intention of helping the humans, at least one Andorian on the vessel did. The NX-01 would receive detailed scans of the Xindi weapon and be able to pass the information to Starfleet Command. At least in this instance, the Andorians ultimately gained the friendship of one pink skin. But all of these are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below.